hello friends. How are you today? Milan here, coming to you from my little rainy homestead just outside of Cornwall in Ontario in Canada, if that's not where you're from. I actually had a reminder set on May 2nd to record a podcast, and it is now Thursday, July 17th, and I'm back. I've been busy. I did some traveling, I did a lot of working of the overtime, and a lot of sock knitting, because that's pretty much all I've had time to do. But I did manage to knit almost 2 sweaters, so I'll be sharing those with you. I got a microphone, and I have no idea how it works. It's like one of these little it's like it looks like a cat. I wish I could show you guys, but it's like this little fuzzy thing. It's plugged into my phone, but I have no idea if it's going to help or how it works. There's like a different app for it, but who knows? So let's get going on the knitting. If you've been around for a little bit, you'll know that at the beginning of the year, I set out to knit 12 pair of socks with some stash yarn that I had from probably a zillion years ago. I put 12 skeins into brown paper lunch bags with no markings, no indicators what they are, and every month I go in and I pick one. So I have shared January, February, March. So now I'm going to share April, May, June, July, and a little spare pair of socks that I made while I was in Newfoundland. First pair that I actually wove my ends in is hand-dyed yarn by me. And as you can see, there are slightly different colors. One was probably on the inside and the other one was probably on the outside of the pot when I dyed it. But the colors ended up decent. I'm glad that they're not pooling. Let's see if I can get that to focus. There we go. So they almost look a little bit Christmassy, but they are. I dyed these to match a bottle of sour beer that I bought in Picton. God, it's got to be 6 or 7 years ago. And I really like the colors, and I tried to put that on a pair of socks. And either way, these are the Tramline socks by Maria Higgs. They were really fun to knit. Here, if you can, it's just a little bit of extra ribbing along the leg and on the edge of the foot here. So not super complicated. I believe her pattern is written for top down socks, but I always make my socks toe up, so I modified the pattern. Next is going to be the May socks, which are knit out of turtle pearl yarns in the trench coat colorway. I haven't woven in my ends yet, as you can see, but aren't these socks stunning? Right? They're so cool. I used them. It came with a little extra skein of contrasting black for the heels, toes, and cuffs. So I used those. They ended up being exactly the same. I'll just put them both on the blockers because it's easier. There we go. So they're exactly the same, which hardly ever happens with me, but they're wound in 2 separate cakes, and it makes it much, much easier to knit socks that are exactly the same. So these are just plain on my Xiaogu 2.25 millimeter. Sorry, I don't know what that is in the US sizes, but that's what I always use. 2.25 millimeter needles with 64 stitches. So 32 and 32, because I knit the magic loop 2 at a time. Always, always. So this is pair of socks number 2. Number 3 is the June socks, which were knit out of Long Dog yarns. And her colorway is through the woods. Oh, my glasses, so I can't see. So I have to squint. So these are the these are the Pebbles and Pathways socks that I knit out of the Long Dog yarns. And you'll see it's got just this little cable here along the edge. So it's a lot like the Tramline socks, but with a little cable instead. And I thought these were really adorable. They have, you know, a little garter stitch on the front and the back, obviously not on the foot, but these turned out really nice and I can't wait to wear them. But as you can see, I still need to weave in my ends. So my extra bonus socks are made out of yarn that I bought when I was in St. John's, Newfoundland. I call them my Newfie socks, and they were made out of Windswept Fibers, which is a local dyer. I bought the yarn at the Artisan Loft, which is just like in the touristy little shoppy part of St. John, and I just like this. It's kind of like I can't decide if it's pink or red. It looks red here, but some days it looks more fuchsia. But they're just plain vanilla socks, toe up again. So I'll have a funny story about these socks in a minute that I'll tell you. So yes, I have two. And that's it for the finished socks. I have my July socks on the go. They're actually probably gonna get done this weekend because I'm working nights all weekend. And I've already turned the heel. So these are, oh, what is this yarn? Protein bar? Oh, it's Knit Picks. This is just Knit Picks. And I was going to knit a pattern, but I wasn't paying attention and I just kind of didn't read all the instructions, but here is how it's turning out. It's just a broken rib essentially. And I think it was supposed to shift. You know, you're supposed to do like 2 rows and then do a plain row of knit and then shift it so that they're stacked. Almost like a seed stitch, but in ribbing. But I messed it up. So this is how it's going to end up. I think the colors look really nice. And the heels are done. So this will be my project for the weekend. I actually forgot to mention that I finished a sweater. And it was a Lopi sweater with 0 color work that I made for my brother-in-law. He picked charcoal, which was kind of boring, but whatever. It was nice and it was easy. And because I didn't have to worry about color management or charts, I just followed the increases. I made it top down. If you want to know how to make an Icelandic sweater top down, check out, I'll link it in the down bar because I don't know how to do those little linky things up here. But I knit it top down and I just followed the same increases. It turned out really nice, except that I had my sister measure a sweater that he really liked so that I would get, you know, the depth for the underarms and the body and the sleeves, so that it would match like his favorite sweatshirt. And the yoke ended up being a lot deeper than the pattern called for. So all the increases were like crammed into a smaller section, and then it was just knit straight until it was like a little bit longer from here to here, like a big cozy sweatshirt. So it ended up, when I tried it on, it was really ruffly here because this is where all the increases were, and then it had just this straight part. So when he tried it on, that's also what it did. I was hoping that with his broader shoulders, because his shoulders are obviously broader than mine, that it would kind of straighten out the ruffle, but it didn't work. And this is what it looks like. So he likes everything else. He likes the length. He likes the sleeves. He likes that the neck is not too tight because I made it bigger. Because I find with Icelandic yarn, I don't want it like right at my neck because the minute you start to sweat, it's going to get itchy. So I made the neck a little bit wider, and I made my sister promise that she would bring the sweater back to me so I could fix the yoke. So my plan is to cut into it right before I separated for the sleeves to redistribute all the increases and then graft it back together. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully I'll get that done before the winter so he can wear it, you know, when it starts to cool off in the fall at night. It'll be perfect. Then I decided I was going to start my traveler shell. And I spun yarn for this years ago, and I'm just now starting it. But I feel like it's going to be pretty itchy. So I think I'm going to rip it out. This is what I have so far. I have no idea what kind of yarn I spun. I just had this really big bag of fiber of this color. And it's a little bit itchy. It's definitely not soft. If I wore it here, it would definitely bother me. So I ended up buying and spending a fortune on some silk alpaca. You know, instead of silk mohair, it's silk alpaca. And when I swatched for this, no matter how many needle sizes I went up until it was like way bigger, I just couldn't get gauge. So I decided to omit the silk and alpaca and just knit it out of the handspun yarn. And I'm not digging it. So I think this is going to get ripped out and I have to find another project for it. One that I can actually pair the mohair alpaca with or the silk alpaca, so that I can make use of this yarn because it matches this color. And I don't even want to tell you how much I spent on it because it was ridiculous. It was an impulsive buy and I almost instantly regretted it. So let's not do that again, right? The next little project I have is the Ursa sweater. Let me explain. I'm not a huge fan of cropped sweaters, but I am going to Mexico City next week. Oh, in almost just a little bit over a week. And I bought a bunch of dresses on Shein for cheap. And I wanted to have just something I could pull over. So I figured a little cropped sweater would be perfect. And I had bought this Drops Wish from Leanne of the Nitty Stew. And I didn't know quite what to do with it. Initially, I was going to make this big scarf, but I decided against it. And instead, I started with this little cropped sweater here. So it's super cute, but we'll see. And it sheds like crazy. If you look at my top is so full of this because I tried it on earlier. But it's super cute. And I have literally one ball left. It's supposed to be long sleeves. It will not be long sleeves. And I have like one little nugget that I'm hoping will be enough to do. I'm not sure what the edge treatment is, but it might just be like a little single crochet along the edge so that it doesn't curl and it just finishes a little bit because it doesn't have like a collar or anything. But I really do like this, this faux seam. It's kind of a half brioche stitch and I really enjoyed making that. It was lovely. So that is all for my makes this time. As for future makes, I plan to tackle my own Icelandic sweaters. I made everybody else's Icelandic sweaters, but I have not yet made mine. And I have yarn to make 2. I bought enough yarn to make the same pattern twice, and it's the same pattern I made my sister's. She wanted hers in the blue. So I have greens for one and oranges for the other. So I'm really looking forward to knitting those up. And so this is going to be a really short and sweet episode. I just wanted to pop in and say hello. So last month, in May was 2 months ago. Holy moly. Actually, it's been 2 months today. So on the 17th or the 18th of May, I flew out to Newfoundland. And what a trip. It was so wonderful. If you've never been to Newfoundland, you have to go check it out. St. John was really fun. Lots of cute little shops, good restaurants. But I really liked Gros Morne, which is the other end. So St. John's like the eastern side, and then Gros Morne is on the western side, and it's wild. Trees and mountains and just beauty and moose. I saw lots and lots of moose on this trip. I did get a dud rental car that ended up breaking down probably midpoint into my trip. Maybe a little, like a week and a half, and I was gone for 17 days. And I had met a young couple from the Quebec side. So I ended up hopping in with them. We were all heading in the same direction, and the cottages that they had ended up having spare rooms. It was just, just all the things aligned for me to just hop in with them and leave the rental car where it broke down in Twillingate. And so I made some new friends. I had some wonderful adventures, and I got to knit the whole pair of socks because I didn't have to do any of the driving after my car broke down. So I ended up finishing my turtle pearl socks, the striped trench coat ones, plus these on that trip. So that was pretty fun. I think I listened to 3 books and I finished a physical book. So it was an all in all very productive trip. And I will probably end up going back because I made some friends there. And hopefully I will see the boys from Montreal in a couple of weeks when I go visit my son, and we'll get to hang out. I am off to Mexico City next week, so hopefully I will be able to share some of those adventures with you, but I'll try and insert some of the cool photos I took when I was in Newfoundland. Yeah, that's it. It feels really awkward today to record. It's going to be a messy episode, but at least I showed up. Wanted to say hello, and we'll see you again, hopefully in not 3 months. Okay, take care and go make some stuff. I 100% forgot to tell you guys that I went to this charming knit shop. They sell knit goods, and I bought myself this beautiful, beautiful sweater. The shop is called Nonia, and you should definitely check it out. They have a really cool story. It's definitely worth having a look. If you're ever there, go for a little toot. I spent money on a sweater that someone else knit because I didn't have to knit it. And it's beautiful, and the color is wonderful.